Uh, I, Dr. Amit Sharma, on the behalf of Team Pharmalok, I am delighted to extend my heartfelt welcome to our eminent speaker, Professor Bhupender Singh Bhoop sir. Professor Bhupender Singh Bhoop sir is an internationally acclaimed pharmaceutical scientist, widely recognized for his pioneering contribution to pharma quality by design, nanomedicine, and computational pharmaceutics. With our 4 decades of distinguished service to pharmaceutical education, research, and industry, he has played a pivotal role in advancing system drug delivery development in India and beyond. A leading proponent of pharma quality by design-based drug delivery and analytical development, Professor Boob has authorized nearly 450 research publications, 16 books, and 92 books chapter, and holds an H index of 68 with over 18,000 citations. He has delivered around 400 invited lectures across major scientific hubs of the USA, Europe, and Asia, and has trained several thousand industrial scientists from top Indian and global pharma companies. He has successfully mentored over 110 trained researchers, including 34 PhD scholars and 10 postdoctoral fellows. His contribution also include 10 patents, 3 technology transfers, 15 software tools, more than 60 award-winning conferences papers, and research funding of over 7.30 crores. Professor Boob has been consistently listed among the top 2% scientists of the world since 2019 till 2025. He has received numerous prestigious awards, including the AAPS QBD Excellence Award 2012 to 2013, APTA Best Pharmacy Teacher Award 2014, Professor DVS Jain Best Scientific Research Award 2018, Shanghai Global QBD Excellence Award 2019, Punjab Acad's SCA Lifetime Achievement Award 2024, Acharya PC Rai Medal Award 2024, Pharmalok Lifetime Achievement Award 2025, and most coveted eminent pharmacist award of IPA to be bestowed upon him on 19 December 2025 during the inaugural function of 74th IPC in Bengaluru. At Punjab University, he has served as Chairman UIPS, Dean, Senator Fellow, and Syndicate Member, and Coordinator of National UGC Centers of Nanobiomedicine and Pharmaceutical Sciences. He serves honorary professor at Punjab University and emeritus professor at Chitkara University. Deeply committed to social service, he also supports philanthropic, healthcare, and educational initiatives through 2 charitable trusts. We are totally honored to our you with us. Today's topic is academic integrity, research skill, and public etiquities, coverage, plagiarism, prevention, referencing mastery, ethical publishing, foundational research skill for students. Now, I invite our eminent speaker, Professor Bhupender Singh Bhoop sir, for sharing their valuable knowledge, skills, and experience with us. Sir, please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Amit, for very nice introduction. I hope I'm
Thank you,
audible.
sir.
Yeah. I hope I am properly audible. I would like to be excused as I was down with the mild fever for the last 2 3 days, as well as some throat infection associated with it. But commitment is a commitment. So I had committed to Mr. Amit Jha, the national coordinator of Pharmalok. So I'm here in front of you all to share my experiential sojourn in the area of academic integrity in research, emphasizing ethical publishing. So let me start with a little bit of academic integrity, then research methodology and research publishing, and the ethical and unethical publication practices. How do we avoid the violations of the research ethics? And I'll share instances from my own personal experience. So, my dear friends, research is to reveal something novel which is not known and to extend it beyond what is currently existing or to present or publish it for being deciphered by others for different kind of applications. As far as integrity is concerned, it's a very uh, complex term which tends to involve so many aspects, ethics, honesty, truthfulness, idealism, and so on and so forth. If we look at the dictionary meaning of academic integrity, it is the commitment to the code of ethics that involves acting with honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility. It's the foundation stone or cornerstone of educational processes, ensuring that all academic accomplishments are genuine, not the fake ones, and the value of the academic degrees which we have earned out of our hard work and the examinations carried out by the respective universities and the research carried out for our research degrees is upheld in a proper way. So, the core principles, as I have already shared, I tend to reiterate for the academic integrity. It tends to encompass honesty, trust, fairness, respect, acknowledging the contribution and ideas of others. To proper citation and proper acknowledgement, responsibility and courage, to act on the values even in the face of pressure. My dear friends, to err is human, to persist in error is devilish, and to continue, committing errors is, not pardonable. So we cannot avoid committing errors, but there are various kinds of error. The first and the foremost are honest error, which are unintentional errors and which tend to occur by chance and are not avoidable, are unavoidable. And the negligent errors are the unintentional errors, which occur by casual approach, by not those who are meticulous, those who are systematic, they can certainly avoid those negligent errors. Deliberate errors, which we tend to commit deliberately, intentionally into the system to make it look more acceptable, more idealistic. These are certainly avoidable, and these are not pardonable, and these must be, booked in the very first instance. And research publishing, it's very, very important aspect of research. A paper is an organized description of hypothesis, data, and conclusions. If your paper research, if your research does not generate papers, it's as good as not having been done. Whitesides, who was pitted for Nobel Prize twice. He was a physicist who used to tell this. And if it wasn't published, it wasn't done. It's a famous quote from a social scientist, Miller. So publishing is very, very important in journal. So till your paper gets accepted, so it's not that easy. You have to cross various milestones, as this pic is, in a jocular sense sharing. But there are so many probable academic manipulations which you can succumb to. So, as Dr. Sharma was telling, plagiarism is one and the foremost. Plagiarism is adoption or reproduction of original creations or of another without due acknowledgement of others. Self plagiarism, you tend to reproduce your own work for multiple benefits. Fabrication, you make up the data. Falsification, you make the original data, look differently. You tend to project false data. Ghostwriting, you take the help of somebody who's anonymous, or you are working for some other paper, acting anonymously. You are working behind the scene. So this is as if some ghost is helping in the writing work. So this is called as ghost writing. Cheating, obtaining assistance in a formal exercise without due acknowledgement, bribery, paying money or accepting money, sabotage, working against the publication or the research of anybody, professional misconduct, which is gross fraud, which is committed, Details let me share. Plagiarism, first and the foremost. It ranges from the referenced, unreferenced use of the published ideas, including the research grant applications. For example, at my age, at my stage, those who are senior researchers, they keep getting offers from the gubernatorial agencies or the private agencies to evaluate the research proposals, from various agencies. And sometimes, you get allured, the idea is great. And what if we reject this proposal and borrow this idea? So this has happened many a times earlier too. So this happens in the minds of the unethical guides, unethical experts. So it may occur at any stage of planning or research or writing. All sources need to be disclosed if we wish to avoid plagiarism. So plagiarism is, in fact, an art to write or present somebody else's work or idea as your own. So Control C and Control V, or Control X and Control V, are the keys which tend to prompt you towards plagiarism. Originality is the key in case of plagiarism. As this kid is telling, what do you mean? All my facts are wrong. He's telling to his madam, I copied this everything straight off the internet, and you have given me F grade. You have failed me. So similarly, this kid is, explaining the matter to his father. My teacher gave me an F on my report. She accused me of plagiarizing off the internet. And the father is, beyond himself in rage. He said, that's outrageous. I'll get that teacher fired. I stole that report years ago from National Geographic magazine and got an A on it, and you're getting F on it. How could that be possible? But today's scenario is changed. Now we can catch people who are plagiarizing, and they once a person is caught, who has plagiarized the text without acknowledging the original contributors, so he's liable to get an F grade on that. People have their own definition about plagiarism, as these fraternal identical twins are using the term. The left one is 3 minutes elder to the right one. Both are identical twins. So the left one calls herself as Control C. The other one is called as Control V, copy paste. They tend to term each other as copy paste. And the boy explains to the teacher, So what I called creative cycling, the school calls it plagiarism. I call it creative recycling. And it's not called as, the student tends to, tell his mom, it's not called as plagiarism anymore. It's called as pre-packaged originality. Sorry, pre-packaged originality. And this is very interesting definition. Stealing from one person is plagiarism, but stealing from so many is called as research. And one gets tempted to plagiarism very easily. This as this young lady is likely to. She says, "No, I forgot that 12-page assignment, which is due to submit tomorrow. If I don't copy it, I will fail." So that allures you to adopt the negative means, the means that would lead you to plagiarism. I need you to do a presentation on the topic of plagiarism. Very interesting. The boss tells his PA, if you don't have time to prepare anything, just steal something off the internet. So sometimes boss prompts the staff to adopt plagiarism. How important are ethics in today's society? That is the topic. And look how ethical are the examinees. Self-plagiarism. It is submitting the same work for credit of publication in two or more different classes.
Good afternoon, Sam. I'm glad you are here. I'd like to get an update on your progress with the research manuscript.
Babaji?
As you know, tomorrow is the deadline for submission.
Oh, no problem.
Babaji?
It will be ready by noon tomorrow.
This manuscript is very important. Do you have any questions about any of the sections?
Well, yes. I used the university plagiarism detection software and found some sections with a high match rate. The background section has a 60% match rate with another article, and the results section has a 40% match rate.
Oh, what were the sources of the matches?
Both were articles that you were listed as a co-author.
Yes, I copied and pasted some of the content from those articles. Since I wrote those sections, it is fine.
According to the information in my research integrity course, this is still considered plagiarism and is classified as self-plagiarism. Any content used from another source must be properly cited.
Are you sure? I've done this before and no one noticed.
I am not sure why it was not noticed before.
Now, in this case, I think you got the gist of it. The madam, the teacher, is ignorant about the, process of plagiarism or self-plagiarism. While the guy who happens to be the student, research student of madam, he is, much more vivid, much more aware because he has been taught in the pre-PhD course about plagiarism and self-plagiarism. So he tells that, you have been copying, ma'am, from your own article, part of the work, and the match rate comes out to be 60% in the introduction and 40% in results and discussion, which is not, acceptable. She says, that's what we had been doing. So they had been doing. Now the scenario has been changed because the plagiarism detection software are there, which can easily find out when any case of copy pasting, and the journals tend to investigate this kind of practice, either plagiarism or self plagiarism, before they send it for the review of the article. So let ignorance be not bliss. We have to look into the case that our article, before being submitted, meets the criteria for plagiarism as well as self-plagiarism. Then there is another case, that's mosaic plagiarism, which is also called as intelligent plagiarism. So One example I have brought for you to make it understand better. There is a sentence, which is listed under source. The artist employed myriad colors to illustrate the transformation from dream world to reality. And mosaic plagiarism is the painter used many colors to show the change from imaginary world to actuality. So, my dear friends, you see, it's a very intelligent piece of plagiarism. Instead of artist, the guy has used the word painter, employed, used myriad, many, illustrate, show, transformation, change, and dream world to imaginary world and reality to actuality. So he has not used the sentence in any way differently, but use the words in such a way that no plagiarism detection software can, find it out whether it's a case of plagiarism or not. So only an intelligent person can find it out that this is a case of mosaic plagiarism. So the correct usage can be color can be a way to show transitions, and in this way, the painter uses it to show where fiction ends and reality begins. Or within quotation marks, myriad colors were used by the painter to show within quotes transformation from dream world to reality. So you are admitting that within quotes, information is borrowed as such from the original sentence. How do we avoid plagiarism? Always reference the work of others. Put the words of others in quotation marks. I have just shared. So, quotation marks business is less applicable in science than in social sciences. Seek the requisite permissions when the information to be reproduced is colossal. Maybe it is figures, maybe it is tables, maybe it is text. It can never be accidental, my dear friends. So there are three kinds of information which you should always cite in a paper or in a project. Number one is text, that's words. Number two is ideas. Number three is graphics. One doesn't need to cite the source when it is the common information or it is your own information. That's the word, ideas, graphics. Say, for example, Mr. Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India. So if I use this sentence, and somebody else states the same sentence, he has not plagiarized me because it's a common information. So I have used that common information. Somebody else can use that common information. So he who states this common information and somebody else quotes that common information is not plagiarizing the one who has stated it in the very first instance. So it is not a case of plagiarism anymore. We can avoid plagiarism by doing our own original work, establish our own voice, do our research very carefully, keep the copies of all your drafts, lest anybody may, accuse us of plagiarism. We should have the copy of all the drafts of the work with us. Make sure that your document is properly constructed and the sources correctly cited. Share hard copies of your work in progress with your guide if you are a student, and with your research student if you are a guide. Citing, paraphrasing, and summarizing, these three are the keys. To make my point across, I have a small video.
Whenever you use a source in something that you're writing, whether that source is a journal article, a website, a book, or whatever, you have two choices in terms of how you use that source. You can either quote from it using the author's direct words and putting them in quotation marks, or you can paraphrase from it. Let's talk about this word paraphrase. You've probably heard it explained to you as, quote, putting it in your own words. Well, that's about half right. Sometimes less, sometimes more. You see, whenever you paraphrase, you can't really put something completely in your own words. You can put it into your own phrases, your own sentences, because you will have to repeat certain key words.
Let me give you an example. Let's look at this. The Great Mississippi Flood of 1927, which covered large portions of Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee under 30 feet of water, is considered the most destructive river flood in United States history. Citation, fatal flood. Now, if you're going to paraphrase that, you can't put it entirely into your own words. How else are you going to say Louisiana, or Mississippi, or Kentucky, or flood, or 1927? You have to use certain key words. So the issue is not putting something 100% into your own words. The issue is putting it into your own voice, your own phrases, your own sentences. Let's take a look at a good paraphrase of that quotation. In 1927, the Great Mississippi Flood drowned sections of 6 states, including Louisiana, and is still considered as the worst our country has ever known. Citation, fatal flood. So as you see,
So as this professor tried to, explicitly, elaborate that in paraphrasing, citing, I go back, citing, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Citing the reference and paraphrasing means, changing the phrase, rewriting the same, and summarizing. These three are the keys. And for the paraphrasing, he has explained it so nicely that you'll have to use some keywords, to make it happen. But that the context has to be changed in such a way that the same sentence is not being copy pasted. So it has to be put in your own perspective, in your own, language. It has to be re-paraphrased. Then only you can avoid plagiarism. So one must realize that almost all the ethical violations get exposed sooner or later. Earlier you get an award on your, publications which are unethical ones. Later on, when you get exposed, that award gets converted to fraud. One example is Fareed Zakaria. He was highest paid anchor on CNN. A very popular, channel in US. He was and Time TV. He was the highest paid anchor. But one fine or unfine day, he copied one article and published in Time magazine how guns worn, and he borrowed considerable piece of work from New Yorker magazine, and he didn't acknowledge that article which was published in New Yorker. So, and the case was filed that it's a case of plagiarism, and he had to apologize, and he told it's a terrible but unintentional mistake, and his career was doomed. Now, nowadays, he's not seen anywhere on these channels or any other channels except some interviews. Otherwise, he was the highest paid anchor and heartthrob of so many females. Canada PM faces plagiarism claim. In 2003, he used the same kind of speech twice, once in parliament, once outside the parliament. So he was accused of plagiarism. He asked for apologies and was exonerated, but it does not happen each time. Bush aide had to resign for similar reason. His secretary had to resign because of the similar accusations of plagiarism. And similar kind of accusations were held in India too by the chief principal secretary of the then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, that Professor C.N. Rao. I think most of you may be knowing that there are only two scientists in India who have been awarded with Bharat Ratna. One is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and another is Professor C.N. Rao. So he is probably, the guy Dr. Sharma was telling that my H index is 68, and probably C.N. Rao's H index is nearly 160. So many institutes do not have such kind of H index, institutes per se, that which Professor C.N. Rao himself has got so many publications, so many books, so much of research in particularly nanotechnology. So he asked for apologies, Dr. C.N. Rao, and the matter was scuttled because he's a respected personality. Some information was borrowed from National Institute of Health bulletins, NIH, and but the original source was not mentioned in Dr. Manmohan Singh's speech, which was made by Dr. C.N. Rao. So matter got settled. But it does not happen always. Dr. Mashelkar, the Director General of CSIR, again had to withdraw a report because of a paragraph being plagiarized, and which was not properly attributed to the original source. So he had to, Dr. Mashelkar, Director General of CSIR, had to resign because of the accusation of the plagiarism. And John Bon Jovi, very fond of English music. They must be knowing about John Bon Jovi, heartthrob of the song listeners, and he was accused of plagiarism of the lyrics of a song in 2008 for $400 billion. So 400 billion, a billion, a million is 6, 10 raised by 6, and billion is 10 raised by 9. You can just, imagine 400 into 10 raised by 9 rupees, into 90. Today's dollar price is 90 point something. So you can very well imagine, the kind of money for which he was sued. But the matter got settled out of court, and he had to pay, I think, 1% of the price. German defense minister had to resign because he was accused that his PhD thesis is plagiarized. Unlike India and some other countries, where you even matriculate or you less than matriculate can reach at the top positions in leadership, political leadership. In Germany and European countries, even in Pakistan, the people who reach at the highest level are the ones who are highly educated. So PhD degree is normally very respected in the political circle. So this German defense minister, Dr. Karl Theodor, had to resign because his PhD thesis was found to be partly plagiarized, and he resigned from the ministry because his PhD thesis was accused of, plagiarism. And similarly, German education minister in 2013 had to resign because her PhD thesis was also, Ivanka Trump, the daughter of the then president and now President Donald Trump, had to again seek apologies because part of her speech, which she used while she was in India in Hyderabad, was plagiarized. She borrowed some sentences from Hillary Clinton's speech, which she, apologized, and the matter got settled. In 2018, Dr. T. Santhanam, a computer science professor who was principal of a prestigious college, had to resign because his PhD thesis, which was submitted, which was, granted PhD on the basis of which, he was granted. Dr. Santhanam was granted PhD in 2001, was found to be a piece of plagiarism, from a research publication which was published as early as 1974. So he had to resign from the post. And recently, Dr. Mark Tezier Levigne, an internationally known neuroscientist from very prestigious university, which tends to declare top 2% scientists, that's Stanford University, USA, California, USA, had found that his investigations uh, had unusual number of instances of data being manipulation. Data manipulations were very frequent in his work, so he had to again resign from the presidentship of Stanford University. So I have come across many such instances of plagiarism in my own life where I examined somebody's work which was found to be plagiarized, or my own work was found to be, copied as such. This is an instance of one publication of my own, was found to be copied. This was my publication, Formulation Optimization of Hydrodynamically Balanced Oral Control Lease Biodiesel Tablets of Tramadol Hydrochloride, which was published in Scientia Pharmaceutica. So the same article, but with different authors, appeared in Asian Journal of Pharmaceutical and Clinical Research, Formulation Optimization of Hydrodynamically Balanced Oral Control Lease Biodiesel Tablets of Tramadol Hydrochloride, but by Afsar Sheikh et al. So my student, one of my student, provided this information, but I didn't bother. There are people of every kind. So why should we squander our energies and time and effort in pointing out? But a couple of my research team members were, very restive. So they pointed out time and again to me, sir, how can we sit, peaceful when your own information, own article has been totally plagiarized? We should raise the voice. Okay, let's write to the journal editor. So we wrote to the journal editor. There was no response. We wrote again. There was no response. Then again, I thought, let's do away with the matter. But my research team was again very, very aggressive. So we are not going to settle just like that. Then I asked them to find out the whereabouts of the editorial board members, and let's write to them. We wrote to the editorial board members, and the editorial board members of that journal reverted back that we have been inducted into the editorial board without our concurrence, or we are withdrawing. Even if our concurrence was taken, we are withdrawing. And some of them told that we are writing to the editor to, withdraw this article, which is total piece of plagiarism. I'm talking about Asian Journal of Pharmaceutical and Clinical Research. So, but there was still dismal response from the journal. Then, meanwhile, I was contacted by the same journal where my article was published, that is Scientia Pharmaceutica. So it wrote to me that I'm sending you one article. Please review this. I accepted that article for review and simultaneously wrote back to the editor, okay, look, doc, I'm taking some time for reviewing your article, but please resolve this problem. One of our articles which was published in your journal has been totally plagiarized by Asian Journal of Pharmaceutical and Clinical Research. So back came the reply the next morning. Why didn't you tell us earlier? You have been suffering and you have been making various efforts to bring that guy to the book, but we have definitive mechanisms. So he told that it's not the first case of plagiarism by Afsar Sheikh. It is his second public case where he has plagiarized. So he wrote to the principal of that college that, look, your faculty member has plagiarized one article from Professor Singh and his team, and to his surprise, the principal himself was one of the co-author of the publications, But anyhow, so the apologies from each one of them was sought, except for one who was not traceable, who had flown for abroad and was employed in some business. So apologies were sent, and also assurances from all of them not to plagiarize in their future. So the matter got settled. And look at the bottom, the article has been withdrawn from publication due to plagiarism, it appeared. And then the editor, he wrote one editorial, issued Journal of Pharmaceutical and Clinical Research, the first case of plagiarism. Now, my dear fellow colleagues, young colleagues, what plagiarism can lead to in India? Retraction of work, withdrawal of work, parent notification, notification to your institute, referral to administrators, your suspension or your dismissal, loss of reputation in your scientific community, and blacklisting by the publisher where your article was published. But we do not have any such legal penalty for plagiarism, while there are some legal penalties in countries like Philippines and in USA. In Philippines, plagiarism is considered felony. It's not minor crime. It's felony. It's not a mistake. Uh, it's between mistake and crime, which is called as felony. In USA, you may have to shed from 2,500 to 2.5 lakh dollars in fines and up to 10 years in jail for one case of plagiarism. So there are software, Authenticate, copy leaks, Turnitin, and so on, Urkund, which are very popular to find out. Authenticate is the most popular software in used by various journals to find out plagiarism, while most institutes use Turnitin. Urkund is the software freely supplied by UNICEF to detect plagiarism. While there are open source software, DupliChecker, Plagium, Copyscape, which can be available freely and downloadable, and you can use it without paying a single penny for the same. You can also check. You can click on the slide as well. So free online plagiarism checker as well. So you can enter your small text up to 1 page or so, and it will detect whether there is a case of plagiarism or not. This website contains free online plagiarism checking facility. So there are books and books written against plagiarism. Then a little bit about fabrication and falsification. I've already shared falsification is providing false information. Like this guy is projecting himself getting photographed against a robust building, although the building behind it is a dilapidated, collapsed building. So it's showing false results, although the building is a collapsed one. So fabrication is cooking data. The data is not existing, but you are making up data. In Hindi में जैसे कहते हैं टेबल पे बैठ के टेबल बनाना है ना. Falsification is changing data, while fabrication is making up data. Plagiarism is using words or ideas without attributing. So falsification is lying, fabrication is cheating, and plagiarism is like copying. So there is another term which is called as salami slicing, that you are copying a part of the article of another author to be used in your article bit by bit. This is called as salami slicing. You are not using the entire article, but a part of it, and to maximize the number of publications. Again, the softwares are clever enough to find out the presence of such malpractices. Bribery, paying money for getting work published or getting it accepted, or accepting money, this is another malpractice. Then sabotage, working against the publication or working against the research of another researcher. One such case was of Dr. Vipul Brigu, a postdoc student who was PhD from India and University of Michigan, very prestigious university. He was employed as a postdoc, but he was, envious of the performance of one Japanese girl, who was working very arduously and very meticulously. So he used to spoil his Western blot experiments. This is a 2010 story. Then, having been doubtful, that lady, took a hidden camera somewhere in the laboratory uh, to find Vipul Brugge spoiling his Western blot experiment by adding spirit, alcohol to it. है ना? And Vipul Briggu was charged with the case of sabotage, professional sabotage, and he was deported back to India. His career got doomed. So this was reported in Nature, the most popular scientific journal in 2010. Ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is somebody else writing for you, or you writing for somebody without attributing your own name. है ना? So, as in lighter vein, this guy is asking his mom, "Mom, I need you to ghostwrite my English essay." And Chat GPT and other generative AI tools are working as ghostwriters these days. But believe me, the plagiarism detection software can detect not only the copy pasted material, they can also look into the material which has been written by AI ghostwriters. So the AI information can be found out using Turnitin and other kinds of software with AI detection facilities here. Say, for example, this was reported very recently. You see, this article in services and interfaces, was used by ChatGPT. Look, those who have used, such type of generative AI tools like ChatGPT, the first sentence is certainly there is possible, introduction for your topic. Here is possible introduction for your topic. So this kind of information is provided by the generative AI tools that like Gemini and ChatGPT. Before they reproduce, they write a sentence. So the uh, casual, you know, I must say, foolish scientists who used AI, didn't take into account that, at least that sentence of AI, generative AI, should be removed. And I'm surprised the reviewers also didn't take that into account. And they published as such, and even the editor didn't take into account. This was surfaces and interfaces. This was 3.5 impact factor, and it was published, as such. And scientific misconduct, when it changes enormous proportion, it's called as misconduct or fraud. Say, for example, cat was cloned, and rabbits were cloned, mule was cloned, bull was cloned, dog was cloned, and then humans were cloned, human embryos was cloned, and all turned out to be 10 or 12 years later frauds when the information was found to be, investigated as reproducible. None could be reproduced, and they were turned out to be fraudulent informations, And for that, one guy who published with respect to the cloning of human embryos, that's the Korean researcher who was considered for Nobel Prize, he had to apologize and retract his article from science journals, two papers from Science Journal, which is considered to be the most prestigious after Nature journal. And and the university where I have been working, that's Punjab University, in Department of Geology, a scientist, Professor Vishwajit Gupta, Vijay Gupta, was accused of plagiarizing illustrations, stealing fossils, etc. While he was working. He had some 450 publications, and whosoever he used to recommend used to find a place in US, Canada. He was such a respected fellow. He was at that very time Dean Students Welfare of Punjab University and was the most potential candidate for next vice chancellorship. I'm talking about 80s when we joined as a faculty member in Punjab University. And he happened to visit a museum in London, New Wales Museum, and he saw some fossils. So he asked his PhD student to pilfer those fossils. CCTV cameras were not there, and the security staff was not very vigilant. So they were successful. He planted those fossils somewhere in the suburbs of Chandigarh and took out an expedition of his students, and eureka kind of phenomena was reported. Oh, fossils will give, and they reported those fossils in none other than Nature journal. And this smart guy on the right side is Dr. Vijay Gupta. And then one scientist from Australia, Dr. Talent, found that how could this be, such type of fossils be there in Chandigarh region, Himalayan region. So he investigated and he wrote to New Wales Museum that I think I saw such fossils in New Wales Museum. So he asked the New Wales Museum staff whether Vijay Gupta or his student visited recently your museum, or some fossils have been, pilfered from your museum. So the reply came, yes, theft of fossils have taken place, and Dr. Vijay Gupta and his student had visited very recently in their museum as well. So he wrote another article which exposed Dr. Vijay Gupta. His career got doomed. He had to resign. He was such a prestigious, such a respected fellow. So it took university several meetings and one full year to accuse him. Meetings after meetings, investigations after investigations, and then when they found yes, he is the culprit, so he had to be asked to leave himself, resign himself, else he will be dismissed from the surface. So he left whatever life he lived an anonymous life thereafter. And similarly, scientific misconduct was reported at the Bell Labs in USA, in Dallas. I have been to Bell Labs, in 2003, and there, I was shared with this information that these two scientists, Hendrik Schaum and Dr. Scott Rubens, reported superconductivity using the equipment which they never had. So they had to ultimately apologize and resign from the. So this was reported in Nature Physics journal. So sooner or later, such type of practices are caught and reported. In Chinese scenario, 70 false crystals were reported by two scientists. In Russian scenario, 1/3 of the dissertations used to be copy pasted. Now all postgraduate and PhD theses are checked for plagiarism. And even in the current premier, Putine's doctorate of science was also accused of plagiarism. So whistleblowing is reporting unethical practices. Person who raises concern, many a times, he or she becomes a victim. Now, as this boss is telling, you did the right thing, whistleblower. So naturally, we have to fire you. Goodbye. Bye bye. Although she did a good thing, but she reported malpractice. Sometimes, he or she has to, face the wrath. And sometimes the bust is displayed outside the office, of the whistleblower. And sometimes when the whistleblowers are rewarded, the person who was is culprit is in the trouble. Sometimes they are asked to maintain anonymity. And NASA very recently, adopted some policies to secure the whistleblower protections. Unofficial scientific policy, pub peer, and detection watch. These two are very powerful, volunteering sources which are finding the plagiarism and other false practices on the published article. So even if you are able to publish, cheat the reviewers and the editor by reporting wrong data. These societies tend to work on your public publications and find out, if there is any malpractice, and they have asked and they have compelled almost thousands of scientists to withdraw their paper, compelled the editorial board as well as the scientists to withdraw their papers. A worrisome academic scenario. 14 universities in across the world have found publication metrics too good to be true. Over a dozen universities have used questionable authorable authorship practices, and unfortunately, five are from India, and six are from Saudi Arabia, and one each from Egypt, Turkey, and Iraq. And this is a very, worrisome scenario. So NIRF, you must be knowing MHRD's NIRF, which tends to, rank various institutes. They are going to award institutes with negative scores for withdrawals from journals. And there is another, a research integrity research risk index that's called as RI scare, which uses main indicator that's retracted publications and publications, proportion of publications in delisted journals. On the basis of that, RIS scare indication has been restarted very recently. My dear friends, do you agree with this? Cheating is an art of the smart people. Do you agree with this? Just think about it in your mind. I do not think like this. In fact, it is the temptation for small shortcuts to success that allures the lazy one. It's the act of the lazy ones. And why do we, plagiarize, and why do we adopt to such practices? Due to mounting pressures, escalating competition, funding becoming scarcer, performance based upon a number of research papers and the research projects, and casual evaluation of papers, allurements towards short-term successes, and bioethics, medical ethics, legal ethics, ethics. Sometimes it's blown out of proportion, ethics proportion. So there is a committee called as SCOPE, Committee on Publication Ethics, of which all Elsevier, Blackwell, Springer, Taylor and Francis, Macmillan, Walters, are the members. They tend to work on stop plagiarism, theme and other malpractices. And I have written a couple of articles on the same. and this is out of that article. I have proposed some do's and don'ts. Those who are interested, so I can send that article uh, to the organizers to be circulated amongst the recipients. Uh, do's and don'ts, don'ts, and then Hail ethical norms. I proposed an acronym: H for honesty, A for animal care, integrity, legality, etc. And in a nutshell, so there are sites and sites which are promoting ethical publishing, and online management sites, and level also of plagiarism are being proposed by UGC. Level 0, less than 10%; level 1, 10 to 40%; level 3, 40 to 60; and above 60 is level 3. So level 1, student may be asked to resubmit the thesis. Level 2, student asked to resubmit the thesis, mentor denied right to supervise new students for a period for 1 year. And level 3, about 60% students registration cancelled, and the mentor debarred from guiding these students. And Urkund software was made available since 2019 nationwide. And these are some of our publications, all ethical ones, total citation index, etc., 18,000 plus, so on and so forth. H index 68, I-10 index 250, I-100 index 51. Some awards and rewards. And recently, I'm so gratified, so fortunate to be bestowed by Pharmalok, President SS Agrawal Lifetime Achievement Award, and now in IPC, I'll be awarded with Eminent Pharmacist Award in Bengaluru. And this is the 2019 Global QBD Excellence Award in China, and some other awards, and some awards to my students: American Association of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Dr. Rishi Kapil, Dr. Kesar Raza, Dr. Sarwar Beg, and Mexi Research Foundation Award, Dr. Rajneet Kaur Khurana, the award of Select Biosciences Excellence Award, and 10-volume book series on nano biomedicine, and are licensed with industry, almost all the major industries I have worked with, and primarily to train them on quality by design, bioweavers, and nano biomedicine. So this was the first article where plagiarism was reported, and this was the second article where unethical publishing practices were reported. So 2016 NIRF ranked second rank. The institute UIPS Punjab University was ranked. I was at chair at that very time, and we tend to follow the footsteps of late Professor Kishan Singh, whom we lost in 2020. He was the only Padma awardee academician, pharma academician, so far, till date. In 2017, he was awarded. मंजिल तो मिल ही जाएगी, जरा भटक के ही सही, गुमराह तो वो लोग हैं जो घर से निकले ही नहीं. So success is a journey, not a destination, and journey to destination is sometimes straight, not zigzag. But the colors around us sometimes distract us from this right and righteous path, and we get tempted to follow the shortcuts, running over the moral and ethical values, and we get denigrated in our own eyes. And we call for help from the divine. When we tend to fall in self-esteem, we call for divine help and offer prayer to generate ethics. And the only source of ethical conscientiousness is Lord Himself. We have to meditate upon the same. Let's meditate for 20 seconds so that we may be granted the ethical conscientiousness. Thank you. And try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Albert Einstein used to tell. Let's all commit today to the Hidi and to this ethical path always. Attitude determines altitude. Hence, we have to transform our attitude. A journey of 1,000 miles has to start with a single leap. This is my team and at the University Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Before I formally superannuated in 22, and thereafter still I'm continuing as honorary professor and emeritus professor at Kala University for you. Thank you so much. And ethical, sir, any questions, please? And I have many articles to acknowledge from where this tools have been taken. Thank you so much. Any questions? I would love to answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable knowledge. All participants, if any questions are there, you can be free to ask.
People are clapping symbolically. No question.
I think, sir, no queries for from anyone.
Even if there are queries afterwards, please pass it on to me. I'll answer them at my earliest convenience. Thank you so much, Amit Jha and Dr. Amit Sharma, for
Thank
providing
you,
me
sir.
this opportunity.
Now I invite our team member to present a appreciation certificate for our eminent speakers.
Thank you so much.
Now I extend my vote of thanks with a heartfelt lines. I extend my deepest gratitude to Professor Bhupender Singh Bhoop sir, who made this day meaningful. Today I not just an event, it's a beautiful memory we will carry forever. I also thank all the technical members and participants for their valuable times and role in making this event successful. I also express my heartfelt thanks Mr. Amit Jha, National Coordinator Pharmalok, for his course. Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. Take care.